Hello, my Networking Group USA family. I can see you all out there. How are you? My name is Don Wilson. I'm the Director of Chapter Education for Networking Group USA. I'm here with a friend of mine who has become a colleague over the years and a Networking Group USA partner, a platinum member of Networking Group USA, Julie Ochs. What's going on, Jules?
How's it going, Donnie?
Well, I got the cup. Do you have your cup
Oh yeah.
today?
Oh
What are you
yeah.
what are you
You got
sporting
that right.
today?
Got that right.
All right, so you're going Wonder Woman, I'm going Star Wars. Very nice. There's probably some type of copyright infringement there, but I don't really care, you
Well,
know.
I'm a big Star Wars geek, big superhero geek. My whole family is
Yeah,
unabashedly.
keeps us entertained.
Yes.
I think it's great to just break off into a world like that, you
Yes.
know. And I how do I say I marvel at like Marvel and things like Star Wars. Like, how can you weave these stories over decades and connect all that's what I enjoy the most.
Yeah.
So yeah. Well, listen, thanks so much for being here today. Um, the platinum member spotlight is twofold. Number one, to share with our world out there, some of the platinum members of the organization like you, get to know you a little bit better. But perhaps even more importantly is, to share best practices. We join a networking group and an organization for a reason and a purpose. So what can you share with our world to help them get a little better at it? So why don't you begin by just telling us a little bit about you and what you do for a living, and also share your chapter as well.
I am a realtor. I am licensed in Mass and Rhode Island. I'm a green specialist and a senior real estate specialist. And let's see, I'm married for 24 years. We have 4 children. And I didn't even get into business until my youngest got in school. Uh, so this is I don't know, a revamping of Julie.
Yeah.
And I feel
Julie
like this is what,
2.0. Is that
yeah,
what it
and I
is?
feel
Yeah.
like this is what I was born to do. I always describe it. I feel like I'm a flower that's blooming.
Gotcha. Gotcha. And in that profession, you never stop learning either. You know,
Correct.
there's always new stuff, there's new challenges, there's new markets.
Yes.
Like, this one is perhaps the most difficult in the last several decades. And when you kind of segue that into our conversation of networking and how we have to wake up every day and work, find our next client, our next referral source, or give business to earn more, it's perhaps more important than ever when markets are really hard, like they are up here right now in New England, you know?
It is very challenging. This market, as I've said many, many times before, the COVID market was very, very challenging for obvious reasons. But this completely just leaves the COVID market in the dust.
It does. It does. It's completely different circumstances. So, what chapter are you a part of?
I am one of the founding board members of the Wrentham Lake Pearl chapter.
And cool, cool. So, do you meet in person? Do you virtual? What are you guys doing?
We do meet in person exclusively. So
Okay,
that makes us a little bit different than some of the other chapters.
gotcha. And how many people in your chapter right now?
We're hovering right around between 15 and 20 for quite a while, trying to get to that coveted 20 mark.
Well, yeah, it is. It is important because it becomes kind of like that critical mass where you really have my approach to it. It's your sales team.
Mm-hmm.
So I think what happens is members start to forget that, yeah, it takes a village. It's everyone's job to grow the chapter and invite. But the second part of that is, what is there to gain by having new businesses and new people? Tons, tons. So good for you. So the goal is maybe to get to 20 by the end of the year for you guys.
100%.
Awesome. What categories are you looking for specifically right now? Any come to mind?
Specifically, we would really, really love to have some people in the trades,
Hmm.
and we would we had a banker, we lost our banker. We would love
Mhm.
a commercial lender. We would love a personal injury attorney. And I would really, really love to have a florist and a baker in my chapter.
All right. So maybe divide and conquer. You
Yes.
throw those out to the members and see who has a couple of people in their world. The average American knows 600 people, average Facebook user 388 friends. I would say there's probably some of those people in there, and
Yes.
maybe you can start going after them. So how long have you been networking for a living?
I've been networking for, I think it's about 6 years.
Okay. So networking is truly a part of your business plan. Like that's how you build your real estate business.
It is absolutely part of my business. It's one of the biggest priorities. However, the caveat to that is I don't, throw spaghetti at the wall and see what sticks. I started doing that. I started going to every possible group I could, but then over time, I focused on three main groups. And those three groups are where I invest my time, money, and energy.
And how much time, per week, just in terms of hours, do you invest in networking? What do you think?
Oh my goodness. I don't know. I
Is it under five, over five?
I would say five is a fair number.
Okay. Because there's a lot of other work to be done,
Right.
in our respective professions. But I think that, the thing is about you is you still do it every week.
Right.
I couldn't imagine stopping for a whole week, your networking activity, because then you know how attention spans are, like out of sight, out of mind. Where is she? She's still doing it. She's still real estate.
Yes.
So what would you share, with our world in terms of best practices? Like what are some of the things that really work for you, whether it's a philosophy that you have or specific habits that you have? What would you share out there?
In terms of philosophy, I would say that networking is really part of my business plan. It's part of my everyday life. And in terms of practice, it's always in the forefront of my mind to consistently and constantly bring value to my members, not just my chapter members, but to the members of the organization in general, Networking Group USA, because I consider the organization of Networking Group USA my sphere.
Got you. So what are some of the different ways you can bring value to people?
I am very cognizant of my members, and I really just try to keep them in conversation and try to find opportunities to bring them in conversation. I'm not even sure if what I'm saying makes sense, but I'm always looking for opportunities to for doors, for introductions, if
Right.
that makes sense.
It does make sense. It's, I was asked to do a video on that a while back for our Networking Group USA YouTube channel. And when I really sat down, I just, I kind of took out a pen and I'm like, what are some of the ways I've helped members in the past? Well, obviously, number one is I give them a really good referral. One, maybe I'll introduce them to a new referral partner, someone who can. Two, then I started to think about, well, some of them I just helped them. They would reach out to me and go, Don, I'm struggling with this marketing idea, or Don, I feel like my habits are slipping, and I'll just try to help them with their business. Um, I'll give you another quick example, and I know you've done this. I know for a fact you've done this. So I don't know if you've seen advertised, but I have a charity event that's coming up in September called Rock the Fight Against CHD, because my son has heart disease, right?
Right.
And after his successful surgery this year, he wanted to resurrect that idea that we did way back when he was born. And so we're going to put this big event together, and Networking Group USA is going to be part of it. And how many times have you just showed up at someone else's fundraiser or donated to one of your members' causes?
Yeah.
I mean, that stuff goes so far because obviously they have passion for something like that, right? You know, so when you think about the ways you can give, there's so many ways to give. So maybe as we get towards the end of this here, can you think of like one of like the best referrals you ever received or one of the most amazing stories from your experience with your chapter? You know, are there any experiences that come top of mind?
So I received a listing referral from one of my members for a client who needed to who needed to move on from her house of 37 years.
Whoa.
She raised her children there. She was the only owner of the house. And that was quite an adventure. It was a 2.5 year process.
Wow.
And I still keep in touch with her, but probably the first year of the process was me meeting with her multiple times and just trying to get her emotionally and mentally prepared to let go of this thing that had been a part of the majority of her life,
Hmm.
because real estate is residential real estate. You can say whatever you want, but it's a very emotional thing. There,
Oh God, yeah.
there are a lot of people, there are a lot of emotions attached to a person's home, especially for that many decades. And it was just really, 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 really precious.
Cool. And at the end of the day, it did sell. The listing did go.
It did sell.
I would almost bet too there were other members of your chapter that became involved somehow,
Oh yeah.
right?
Oh yeah.
So that is a great story to share because it's amazing how the power of one good referral can affect just more than one person in a group.
Yep.
Pretty awesome. You stay in touch with that client still?
I do. I
You
do.
do. And have they ever indicated to you that they're probably one of your biggest fans?
Well, she's not that kind of a person,
Okay.
because she's not native to this country.
Uh-huh.
But so her culture was different, but um,
Gotcha.
but we always pick up right where we left off when we talk.
So even that to me though, that means like at the center of business is relationships.
Right.
Period. No one can convince me otherwise. And your relationship with this client that came from your effort, right? With building a networking group, being engaged with it, even if it's not her style to tell you that, the fact that you say our conversation picked up right where it left off means you have a tremendous relationship with this client. You made a big difference in their lives because of the effort you put in over what, 2.5 years, you said, right?
Well,
So yeah, go ahead.
can I tell you another quick one?
Yeah, man, go.
Some clients who were first time home buyers, they bought their condo. And I guess this is an even bigger story because over time they've become basically extended family. They come over to our house for Christmas every year now, and they're getting married in October in just a few weeks. Not only is one of my sons their best man, but they've asked me to officiate their wedding.
Oh, wow, that's pretty wild.
So yeah, pretty cool.
And you know, these again become relationships like this with clients. They go beyond that and they become not only your biggest fans, but they become referral sources. I have a hard time believing that if in conversation with either of these two people that you just outlined and shared with us, if they were in conversation about anything real estate related, that you wouldn't be the first person that they speak of, correct?
Well, I sure hope so.
Yes. I mean, you hope so, but I think, I think you have wonderful humility. I think you probably know like there's no way they're talking about someone else other than me because of the emotional deposit you put into these two relationships, and not just that, but you had to do your job well for
Right.
them. If you
Yes.
did a horrendous job as a realtor, I'm pretty sure that they'd be good with you right now. They don't need to
Yes.
stay, right? So,
Yes.
and that's a wonderful example of what being a part of a Networking Group USA chapter means. And that type of exposure and these type of stories just ultimately mean, okay, Julie has to make a living. She's got a family. I heard about 4 kids.
Yeah.
We got to pay bills, and ultimately that's what we need to do, is we need to drive referral business through relationship building, which is really what our model is all about. Cool. So any final words of wisdom as we wrap this up today, Jules? Go for it.
One
And
thing
you can't use a Wonder Woman quote. That is not
no,
allowed.
I'm not going to.
All right.
I'm always reminding people in my chapter that to think bigger. The Networking Group USA is a large organization and constantly growing. This whole organization is your sphere. NGU people are my first reach out when I need something for whom I don't know a personal connection. I immediately go to the NGU website, or I go to another NGU member I know. That's my first go-to. And it's your sphere. Take advantage, plug in, visit other chapters, have one-on-ones with other chapter members, get to know them. That's what it's all about.
I think that's an awesome way to end this, because you're right. You have deep relationships within your own group, because
Yes.
you see each other twice a month, you do one-to-ones, we do a quarterly get together,
As do
but
we.
it goes beyond that, right? And I do the
Mm.
same thing. If I don't have that particular person in my chapter, first of all, I go, then I should try to find someone, right?
Yes,
But I will go right to the site and go, plumber, do we have someone?
exactly.
And reach out, because we know that we're people of similar mindset, and we're part of this brand that is Networking Group USA. So
It feels safe to me. It feels
yeah,
safe for me to connect someone I know to someone else in NGU. It doesn't feel as risky, if that makes sense, because it's a reflection on me who I connect someone to.
it always is, and people remember that. So that's wonderful. So Jules, thank you once again. Julie Ochs, how can people find you, Jules? Share your contact information.
I am you can find me at julieochs.com, and I'm at LAER Realty Partners. It's just my name. jochs@laerrealty.com is my email, except that my name is spelled weird. It's OCHS. jochs@laerrealty.com.
It's
But
not weird, it's
and
special.
you can find me online. You can Google me.
Yeah, we're all out there somewhere.
Yep.
But again, Julie, thank you so much for making some time for us, and congrats on being a platinum member. We know, I know on behalf of the executive team, we appreciate when people do step up to that level, and that investment per year. And I go, it's still only $250 a year compared to how much money people can spend on networking.
Right. And
But
it's tax deductible.
that's right. And it puts you out there, gives you some extra advertising, and also, videos like we're trying to do here. So again, thank you so much.
Thank
And
you for inviting me.
oh, it's our pleasure. And you take care of yourself. We'll talk to you soon. Okay.
Thanks, Donnie.
All right. Peace.